Oh, wonderful worldwide internet. Justin from Aftershoot here. Very excited for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm tuning in right now because I did just get a little news that we have to push back our Lunch and Learn just a few minutes. So instead, what I've decided to do is just hang out with all of you, our amazing users, and kind of see what you got going on and hanging out with you all. So if you are here, if you're interested in chatting with me, please do come on, hang out with me for a little bit while we wait for our amazing special guest. I also figured I would take this moment to maybe run through some different edits from these new pre-built profiles because it's very exciting to see all these exciting profiles. So while I'm hanging here, please do tune in, ask some questions. And like I said earlier, just at the beginning of this, we are just a few minutes behind. Our very special guest for today is just a touch delayed. So we're going to just hang out with you guys and chat. So any questions, anything you want to do, go ahead and shoot them my way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run a whole bunch of profiles through. So we got these brand new styles, and I'm really excited to see how they all perform. And I want to show you just kind of what they do. So without further ado, I'm actually going to just share my screen, and I'll be watching the Facebook comments over on the side here. And I'm going to run all of these brand new profiles live for you while we wait. So a very exciting time to go. So we'll start with our Honeycrisp. So I have about 190 photos here, and I'm showing you kind of a little trick that I love to use as well. I like to just kind of go through and run the same profile over and over again. So this is something I use to kind of showcase or see all the different styles we have available here at Aftershoot. So I've got this catalog, I'm running it through. Run it through once, I'll run it through again, just clicking that edit again button. And it really lets you show off or see all the different styles that you have available to you. So we just did Honeycrisp. I'm going to go in, I'm going to drop down. We're going to go to the next one, Fudge Fervor, and go ahead and do that. And I'm really sorry to make you all want to eat ice cream right now. I know that's, I know that's what it's all about. But like I said, please hang tight. We have Pedro coming. We're really excited for this conversation today. Pedro's an amazing photographer, and the Latinos Who Photograph, he is representing them today, which is really exciting. Spanish Heritage Month is so special to us. We have a very special place in our heart. We have many Hispanic team members that we love to celebrate. And a ton of Hispanic users that we're super proud to have on our team, which actually I see Ruben Chan is here. So Ruben is one of those amazing photographers, amazing human beings who is hanging out with us. So again, please comment, chat, hang out with me for a little bit while we wait. We'll get Pedro in as soon as possible. Just again, a couple little glitches here that we're working on. So we're just going to edit with all these profiles. So I can just show you what all these profiles look like on some of these photos that we took from our Focal event a few weeks ago. So we were at Focal Banff, Canada, which was absolutely amazing. Those of you who are interested in what Focal has to offer, definitely we're going to get them into our group very soon. So Focal is a website company. I, like many of you, had issues when the flow themes fallout. So I immediately started hunting around for some different places that I could make a website and different things I can do. And I found a lot of options, but I was really excited about the Focal option, which includes AI blogging. So they have a Black Friday special that allows you to actually build websites using AI. Which is absolutely insane, right? So you can have AI blogging built right in and absolutely get a lot out of it. So if you're just joining, if you're just tuning in, we're just waiting for Pedro to join us. There was a little bit of a glitch issue thing happening, so just a little bit delayed here. And while you wait, I am running through every single brand new profile that we have. So you can go ahead and chat and leave some comments and hang out with me while we wait. And I'll showcase some of the before and afters of these brand new AI pre-built profiles. Ask some questions about anything. I'm yours. You have me. I blocked this time in my calendar. So until we get Pedro in here, I'll be 100% available for anything you want to talk about, chat about, hang with me. Uh, Whatever you got, I'm here for you. And we're going to just keep running these profiles through. So I'm showing you just a little trick that we have available to you. So if you are looking at these new AI styles, these new pre-built profiles, and you're not really sure based on those preview photos which one might be the trick for you, which one may fit you the best, one thing you can do is put together just a set of images that you want to test it on. So whether it be just like some flagged images or just an individual catalog. In this case, I just have a bunch of images from a recent session, and I'm basically just editing again, dropping down, testing out the next profile, and keeping going through like that. So it's a nice way for me to just get a good feel on what each style can do and what it looks like through this process. So again, there's a lot of them. So sorry, you're going to have to sit here and watch me edit this session under all of these, but we'll get some really cool, nice insights as to what each profile is capable of and what they do. And so again, any questions, any comments, I am here for you. You can absolutely chime in while we wait for Pedro to join us here. Going to be really exciting conversation today. We'll talk a lot about Latinos Who Photograph. Pedro is an amazing photographer. We'll drop his Instagram link here once he joins us, so you can kind of follow along and ask some questions and see what it's all about. But yeah, we're looking to really celebrate some of our amazing Hispanic ambassadors, our amazing Hispanic employees, the whole kit and caboodle. And we'll go over all of that in our live. And so again, just hitting edit again here. We just did caramel fudge, just dropping down. I'm skipping a few because I don't think you want to sit here and watch me edit the same thing over and over again while we do this. But I did want to just make sure I was here on time so that you knew that we're just pushing back this event just a little bit while we wait for Pedro to join us. Anyone have any questions? I see some of you hanging out in the comments section. Would love to see anything you guys have to offer. I am, again, just editing some pre-built profiles here while we wait for our guest for today. So you can get a little peek of what we have. I'm very excited about a lot of these profiles. So many different looks and different styles available. And like I said, I'm showing you kind of the fast track on how you can just run these through while we wait for our guest for today to join us. So I have about 190 images that we took in Canada a few weeks ago, and I'm going to just run it through all these different profiles. We're about 90% of the way there, so maybe one or two more profiles. And then what I can do is actually go through my edits history and see what each profile does and what it's capable of. So here's Vanilla Roar, Vanilla Whisper, and I think this we'll call it from here, and I'll go open up this catalog and show you some of these different styles and what they look like, completely untouched by me, just totally after shoot edited while we wait for our guest. Again, comments are wide open. So any questions you have, anything you want to know, go ahead and pop a little comment there and we'll get to them all because that's what I'm here to do. Just give you some time while we wait for our guest. And we're going to open up Lightroom now. We've got a bunch of profiles run, and I'll show you some of the before and afters and what all these different profiles look like. It's really cool to have such flexibility. 28 AI styles now, which is really just a cool thing to have. For me, I love my personal style. Of course, it's one of my favorite things to utilize, but it also is really cool to have all these other options available to me. So it gives me just a little bit of a way to experiment and try some different looks, which is great. So let's go find something that's maybe not off-camera flash, because off-camera flash is fine, but let's see what all these different, maybe something with a little bit of greenery in it. All right, there is a lovely photo down here. Will there be a Black Friday sale to add the edits? I'll need to renew soon. So we will have a Black Friday sale. What it will be hasn't been officially announced or talked about yet, but there will be a Black Friday sale. So if you have to renew and you're coming up, you didn't get on the Founders deal or any of the other deals, you could definitely hang tight because there will be something coming for Black Friday. So we've been having a lot of meetings about that. So definitely hang in there. It'll be coming soon. So I have all these profiles we ran, so I'll go through them and just show you. So this is your Vanilla Whisper. Vanilla Roar, which is like one of my favorites from this update. I really something drew me to this. It's got that kind of matte look, but it's also contrasty and deep. Vanilla Glow, adding a little bit of more warmth to it, which again in this photo is like a home run for me. Then you have Caramel Fudge, which essentially removes the matte, right? So we've done a lot with the profiles here and making sure that we can give you some different looks and different ways that they would edit. So Caramel Fudge is giving you that a little bit more of a pop, a little bit more contrast in some of the profiles. Cinematic Sunday is a super nice profile. Again, very contrasty. It's got a little bit more of a cooler tone to it, which is exciting. Gives you a nice look. And then you have Berry Blast. So Berry Blast was one of those experimental profiles that we wanted to kind of push out to everybody and give them a little bit of a different look. So if you notice, if you kind of zoom into this, it's got some green added to it. It's a little bit more of a fun, exciting look. And can I show before and after? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's reference. So before and after. So I did notice someone commented once that everything's underexposed. I'm a Nikon shooter, so I always underexpose my images. These profiles should, in theory, be working across whether you're doing a proper exposure or underexposed image. So let me dive back up to the top here. So your before and after on the Vanilla Whisper, your before and after on the Vanilla Roar, your before and after on the Vanilla Glow, your Caramel Fudge, which is a really awesome one, your Cinematic Sunday, again, very cool and exciting, and then your Berry Blast, which I absolutely think is such a cool look. It's not something I'm going to deliver to my clients, but it's something I'm going to deliver to myself. And we have Randall Mena. Hola, Randall. Amazing photographer. If you don't know Randall, you should definitely go check out his work. He'll probably be joining us here at some point as well. He's absolutely, his work is incredible. Randall, you should drop some link to your work in the comments so people can go check you out. And like I said, we're just waiting. We have our lunch and learn on Hispanic heritage today with Pedro Vasquez of Latinos Who Photograph. He is on his way. Just got a little bit delayed here, so I'm just showing off some before and afters of these brand new profiles we have available. Oh, I skipped over Courtroom Caramel. That's like such a nice, simple look. I absolutely love that one. You have your Crunchy Cone, which is a little bit more contrast in it, a little bit cooler. Your Icy Crunch, which adds a little bit of that matte flavor back to it. Krispy Kreme is one that just makes me want to go buy some donuts. Krispy Kreme is such a nice look here. Again, just pretty simple. Fudge Fervor is taking on to that kind of brownies toning, right? So giving a little bit more warmth and depth to your imagery. And then you have Honey Crisp, which again adds in a lot of that skin tone, which I really love, while still giving it a stylistic look. And then I have my secret profile that's not out yet. That's my black and white one that I've been testing on all these images as well. So just a little bit of a higher contrast ones. Hola, Duo Producciones. Hello from Spain. Wes is so excited to jump on. He's learning some culling, loving it. Yeah, Wes, you got to check out some of these profiles. I mean, these are like these pre-built profiles. They're just fun to play with. Like I said, for me, I'm always going with my style, but to have something that's just a little bit different is very exciting to do. So we're going to go to this heavily backlit photo. My expectations are low because I'm a bad photographer on what this can do, but the fact that the AI is giving me these looks, Vanilla Roar, Vanilla Glow, oh, that's pretty dreamy. Caramel Fudge. So Caramel Fudge for me, I think I would probably take up the shadows on this particular image for that, right? Just to ultimately get that look. That's just based on my editing preferences. You could always do the exposure. You could play with some things. But again, to have these as a good starting point, actually same with Cinematic Sunday, I'd want to kind of just bring up those shadows to get what I'm looking for out of it. Berry Blast hits it on the head again. Like I said, Berry Blast is not something I'm ever going to give to my clients, but it's something that, like my personal work, I want to take some pictures and just like have that kind of artistic stylized look is something that I'm just going to send out. Um, Courtroom Caramel. So a lot of these I'm going to have to bump up the shadows because I am a heavy underexposer. It's just my way of shooting. But again, you can kind of see some of these looks across them. They all just basically need, for my style of shooting, just a little bit of a shadow boost to get them up where I want them to be. Minus obviously my profile because it's trained on my images, so it knows that I love to underexpose and play with shadows. But yeah, that's kind of some of these styles, which is just awesome. Let's look at what they do to some landscape photos. So this is beautiful Banff, where I finally got to hang out with Wes a little bit further. And I was super excited to do that. I have my vanilla whisper, my vanilla roar, my vanilla glow, my caramel fudge, which I love that one on that particular image. Ooh, cinematic Sunday, bringing in some of those shadows. This is just a cool way to look at it. And thank you again. Thank you everyone who's hanging out. I know we're a little bit behind on our lunch and learn today, but I did want to make sure that I entertained you for at least a little bit while we waited for our guests to join us here. So Berry Blast is like super cool on this photo. It's not, I would have never done that. Berry Blast on something like this, but it's pretty cool. Courtroom Caramel, very exciting. These are all just like, again, landscape photos. They're cool to just break out the bounds of what you're doing, right? So you have all these profiles available to you to get a different look just out of some images. So again, very exciting. I will go find some off-camera flash images now, potentially. Actually, I did take a cool landscape photo that I was happy with. So let's see what it does here. So here is, again, just getting these tones in. You can see there's a lot of green in these photos, so it's pretty cool to see all these different variations of what we can do with these profiles. Huge shout out to Uma, who just joined in. Hi, Uma. Thanks for joining in. I'll see you in a week or two. Very, very special guest down there. Everyone say hi to Uma. And so here's our cinematic Sunday portrait and Berry Blast. So in this case, Berry Blast, I'm going to tone a lot of these down, I think. But when you see I tone it down just like that, it's just a cool profile to have available to you. Again, this is like a more overexposed. I'm not sure what I would necessarily be adjusting the exposure to for these images, whether I want to go towards the highlights of the waterfall here or the log. If I want to create that more contrasty look that way, I can. But it's really subjective in this case. I mean, I would probably be bringing down the exposure on a lot of these, but I can show you how to do that as well while you're here. So we can definitely dial down some of these things manually, just like this. Or we can simply use some batch processing capabilities within Lightroom here. So again, just dialing these down. But let's just say that I was interested in one of these profiles. So we're going to take the Courtroom Caramel profile. Let's say, or Cinematic Sundays. That's the perfect one. We love Cinematic Sunday, but it's a little bit overexposed for our shooting style. One of the ways we can actually take care of this is by heading into library mode. And from library mode, I can zoom out and I can actually select all of the images and I can simply just click the decrease exposure button. And what it's going to do is actually batch all of our exposures down on all of these images. So it gives me that capability to take one of these profiles and adjust it across the whole thing. Now, important note, if you're doing that, one thing to note is that these photos here are edited by the last profile, right? So if I wanted to do it on Cinematic Sunday, I'd have to edit Cinematic Sunday across all of the images and then use this little hack here to decrease the exposure across all of the images. So again, it's just some of the tools available to you to get these specific stylized looks. It's something that I personally really enjoy. Again, having these different looks. Let's do the side-by-side here. On the vertical. So again, you can see the before and the after, 100% AI done. For me, as an underexposer, I want to definitely bring up my shadows on a lot of these photos. That's just my general look. Shooting on Nikon means that I have a lot of versatility in my shadows. as opposed to shooting on, say, a Canon. I would never expect the shadows to perform like this. I'd be looking to get my highlights back a lot. But yeah, these are just a handful. Remember, we have 28 AI profiles available to you right now. So you absolutely can go through and play with these, try them out, find a look that maybe fits your existing look, or just find some profiles that you really love for different conditions. One of the things that I plan on doing with these AI profiles is actually choosing which profiles I like in certain conditions and utilizing those. So for instance, on a cloudy day, which I'll go back to that picture I was showing at the beginning here. So if I'm on a cloudy day, a profile like this, we'll go back to single image here. So a profile like this is great for me. A vanilla whisper on a cloudy day is not quite my liking. I don't love this, but I do love how this would look in a window scenario where I want to bring up my shadows a lot. So one of the things that I would plan on doing is actually segmenting my weddings a little bit more and running these profiles on some of those weddings. So for instance, Vanilla Glow is super pretty. It's something that I would use in outdoor conditions during the fall, but I wouldn't necessarily dive in on an indoor getting ready style photos. I'd probably lean more towards the Vanilla Whisper for those because I want kind of to flatten out some of the images. I don't necessarily need a lot of contrast within them. Cinematic Sunday to me is a set of images or a profile that I'm going to use more likely on an indoor scenario. So if I'm at a wedding, if I'm at a that's at a church where I know it's a little bit warmer, I'm going to use this profile to kind of keep everything a little bit cooler, but still get that contrasty look. And so it doesn't seem like they would be super consistent, right? Using multiple different profiles across one wedding in its whole. But because the conditions that I'm shooting in would be so varied, it's going to look pretty consistent across the board, right? Because the white balance on a lot of these profiles is pretty straightforward. So it's always going to be pretty realistic with white balance. And it's going to allow me to have different toning, simply contrast, highlights, shadows, and a little bit of color theory behind it for each one of these individual unique profiles. Like I said, Berry Blast is just a fun one. I'm not going to use that in any condition that I'm delivering to a client, but I'm going to do it for myself. And then hello to Marietta. She's here. And Uma says hello to everybody. Everyone wave and say hi to Uma. And so Courtroom Caramel is actually really close to my existing style, right? So I love this look. It's just very true to life colors, a little bit of contrast here. I'll scroll through and find some other ones to kind of showcase what that might look like on a photo like this. So we'll go down to Courtroom Caramel. It's a very nice look. The greens are a little bit muted. It's not something that I normally do with the greens, right? But it is something that I could probably get away with for my work. To make that appear that way. Now this photo, I love this picture. I would again just Vanilla Whisper, take the highlights down for me and maybe crank my contrast, which is again some things that I could do batch or profile editing wise. So again, any questions about anything after shoot related, let me know. We're just waiting for Pedro to join us here. He should be joining us any minute, but I just want to check the comments here. Oh, looks like we have some people, some comments. I did want to showcase, I told you all, Randall has amazing work. So definitely photo by Randall Mena. Go look at his work, go follow him. He's an amazing photographer. I absolutely, every time I see his work, I just go, oh, it's so incredible. So definitely check him out. And then, yeah, please ask some questions, probably just another minute or two. And I think Pedro should be diving in with us. Thank you all who hung out and waited for his arrival. I did want to just fill some time while we are here. Does anyone have any questions or want to see anything in particular? I know we just kind of bored you for a little while with some before and afters, but I'm happy to talk anything after shoot, showcase anything after shoot while we wait for our special guest to join us for the day. And then Marietta's here like a boss. We're going to say hola to todos, hello to all. Marietta is a vital part of Aftershoot. If you have not met Marietta out in the wild, definitely take the time to do so. She's small, but she packs a big punch. She's definitely one of our go-tos. We were just hanging out with her a couple times in the past few months. So and we'll be seeing her plenty in the future. So you'll all see her everywhere. Let's see. Got a great question. Is there a way to compare editing profiles quickly on your own images? So actually, that's what I just was showcasing. Let me show you what I did and how I did to get there. There isn't like there isn't a built-in way in the app to do that right now. So you would, unfortunately just be subject to looking at my terrible photos in the before and after screen. We're working on expanding that to some other people. If anyone else has no, please, Allison, I'm just killing time. So you asked the perfect question at the perfect time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase just a little bit of how I would do it right here. So we'll go through the process and I'll show you just what I did. So what I've done within Aftershoot, I've already downloaded all of the new profiles, right? So I went in, there's no like penalty or anything for downloading them all. So I went into the marketplace, I download all of the profiles available. I actually didn't update any of them, but I downloaded all of the new profiles that exist. So I have them all here. They're all on my computer. And then what I did is I actually went in and I had a catalog that was just a variety of images, kind of random stuff. I didn't really plot this out much. And what I did is I went in, I clicked start editing. I connected the catalog. We're going to do this catalog here. And I found that collection or that folder. So, I just select what I want to edit. Let's see. Here's another set. So I have 292 images in this catalog here, or this collection. So I'm going to just click on edit 292, but I'm going to just choose the different profiles I want, right? So I would go through and say, I'm going to use Cinematic Sunday. So I'm going to edit these 292 images with that. And they'll download. Great question. Do you need to be connected to the Wi-Fi to be able to use the profiles on the marketplace? You do not need to be connected to the internet to use the profiles. You just have to have internet to download them. So once they're downloaded, they live on your computer. So then you can edit anywhere, anytime, any way you want without Wi-Fi. So it's a nice little feature to have. All you got to do is dive in, drag them down, and run it through. So you can download them all while you're on the internet and then have them wherever you want afterwards. And so everyone knows I'm still going through Allison's question here. I'm showing her how I would compare the profiles. So I just took these 292 photos. I edited them under one profile. We did Cinematic Sunday. And then what I'm going to do is click on edit again. And I'm going to just change the profile. So I have the same 292 images selected. And we're going to just do Berry Blast because that sounds like fun. So we're going to use Berry Blast here, run it through, and it's going to edit these images one more time. And while we do that, I'm actually going to quit Lightroom because we're going to open a different catalog. And for some reason, my Lightroom doesn't like me anymore. So my Lightroom ends up being, if I have it open and I quit and try and open another catalog, it never opens again. So I have to quit Lightroom before some bug that hasn't been solved yet by Lightroom. So just going to run that through. These are 292 photos. So we're going to do Berry Blast, and then I'm going to run it on one more profile. If anyone wants to comment real quick on a profile they want to see me run these random photos on, you got like 3 seconds to do so. So we're going to click on edit again. And I'm going to slowly do this and see if anyone drops a comment on any profile they want to see from the new ones. I don't see anyone commenting. So we're going to do, let's do Vanilla Roar. How about that? So we'll edit these 292 images. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to open this Lightroom catalog after. So all I've been doing right now is just edit again, edit again, edit again, just changing the profile each time. And this is going to be the way for me to kind of compare those different styles really simply, because now all I have to do is go through and click through these edits. Some people, like one of the things I do, I actually have a test catalog. So I always flag my I always flag my highlight images. So I take those highlights and I actually put them all into one catalog. So I export them to a catalog and I have all my highlights in a singular catalog or collection. And I run it on these highlights. So I actually have like a 300 photo database of all different conditions that I shoot in and things that I like to review. And it gives me all these profiles. and I can see all the differences between profile to profile, whether I'm using off-camera flash, direct flash, full sun, cloudy, etc. Because as I mentioned before, some of these profiles actually look really cool in certain conditions, but they don't necessarily fit my style the same in a different condition, right? So for me, that's something that I am very, very excited about, is to be able to just kind of have a profile that I would use outdoors versus indoors. You know, here's my wedding from a couple weeks ago. This is just my profile, so don't judge. But yeah, let's go down and find the files that we just edited. We did the focal catalog day 2, I think it was. So that looks like it's been edited by these new profiles. So what I'm going to do now, so we edited those 5-star photos, 292 of them. And you can see I have these profiles that I just ran them through. So you could run them through all the profiles. You could run them through the one that interests you more or less or not. So here you have Vanilla Roar. And here's Berry Blast. So just by clicking through the history, I can see the differences. And here's Cinematic Sunday, you know, not quite as dramatic for me. And then there's my profile that I used, and then my black and white profile that is special and maybe coming out soon. So now I have all these photos, right? They're all just kind of pre-edited for me. Here's a very famous photographer whose work is epic. This is Jason Vincent. So here's Vanilla Roar. And then that's my Berry Blast look. And that's my Cinematic Sunday look. And then that's my black and white look. So again, I have all these different looks available to me, just by scrolling through. So you can kind of take a look and see what each one looks like and how it acts in all these different conditions. So sorry for the longest answer possible, swinging all the way through and showing you all of those different things. But that is how we would kind of do Vanilla Roar, Berry Blast, Cinematic Sunday, my profile, my black and white profile. So I can just go through and kind of see what these actually do to my real life photos, and not have to kind of use those terrible preview photos that Aftershoot shows you. They're my pictures. Those terrible preview photos from me. So here's Vanilla Roar. Here's Berry Blast and Cinematic Sunday. So again, you get a good feel of what it does to all the different colorings of the images here. So there's your my special black and white one that's coming soon. And we'll go find some other random photos. They're not actually random at all. I'm looking for a specific photo of an Aftershoot user. So I love showing this off because we were at Banff, not a conference, but put on by Focal. We were one of the sponsors there, and I just so happened to start talking to people, and the amazing model on the right here is actually an Aftershoot user. So she was modeling and she's a photographer, and she was like, I love Aftershoot. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to post all your photos, everything I can do. So yeah, here's just a couple more, and I'm only going to show you like 2 more because I heard a funny noise that usually is the signal that I have a special guest here. So I'm going to end this and we'll start talking with Pedro very shortly. So here's your Vanilla Roar. Here is your Berry Blast, your Cinematic Sunday. Now, some of these, again, I'm an underexposer, and these aren't necessarily meant to be underexposed so much. They kind of work, but they aren't going to do the full trick for someone like me who's underexposing by a stop or 2. But they'll do a pretty good job at kind of balancing it. I just play with my shadows on a lot of these profiles. That's my personal thing, but you can see they just edit in all these different conditions. So again, you can recycle them, keep editing, and you'll have all of that amazing stuff put forth. So just by looking at your history, you know, here's your Creamy Crisp profile. I forgot I ran this on some other ones. So you can see all the different profiles and how they interact with your shooting style without actually having to go in and do anything complicated. You can just click edit again, edit again, edit again. And so with that, I'm going to just show you my profiles here, black and white. Cool. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and make sure that I have the absolutely amazing, fantastic Pedro Vasquez. I'm going to go ahead and turn him on. Hold on one second. And he is in. He's made it. Hey, Pedro.
Hi, guys. Good. How are you? It's been a long time.
Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it was great. I got to hang out with some users and chat with them. I let them know that things were a little bit hectic and there was some stuff going on, so we had to push back a little bit. So we got to show off some new profiles and all of that exciting stuff. But I'm super honored and excited to have you here. You are such a ray of light in such a amazingly terrible world sometimes. So it's so fun and exciting to get to have you here and chat with you. And thanks
Thank you,
for
Justin.
joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super nervous. I am not usually like I don't really like too much of the interview like scenarios just because like it just gives me like this nervous anxiety. But because I know you already and met you in person, I feel more comfortable, and I appreciate you having me on here.
Awesome. Cool. So we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about some of the amazing stuff that you are a part of, which is absolutely a game changer for a lot of people, right? So we've we're going to dive into some deep topics. I'm going to try and go easy on you. I won't put you up against the wall or anything. We'll keep it simple. But yeah, so first and foremost, you are a photographer. You take pictures.
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
take pictures of?
So I actually do ecom. So I do ecom photography for different brands. Basically, commercial photography for shapewear and bodysuits. Women's clothing mostly. And I also am the creative director for a brand, which I currently do the advertising, and I also do the photography for this brand in particular, and also portraits. So that's basically what I specialize myself in.
Which is amazing. And I know we're here to talk about other things. So we're going to get to those other things. But I think there's so much value to the like e-commerce product and portrait photography space. So, I actually did not know that you did shapewear, which I know shapewear, which is, like, so, it's a big deal. So that's absolutely incredible and super cool to hear. So how did you really get started in that space? Like what if somebody wanted to get started in that space or they were interested in like products or e-commerce photography, what did you do to get off the ground?
So basically, I lived in New York City for 17 years. And while I was living in New York City, I just love fashion photography. Like, that was basically what I was aiming for. And then I started to contact different brands and basically just try to get my name out there because I didn't really know exactly how I would go about it. And it just kind of happened. I landed this brand that they needed photos of their different products out on the streets of New York, and they didn't have a photographer in New York City, and they were based in California. So I started doing lingerie, and I started doing costumes for this brand called Leg Avenue. It's a very big lingerie company, but they also do all of the costumes that people buy at the store and for Halloween and everything like that. So I created all of the creative direction for them in New York City. And basically when they first hired me, they liked it, they loved it, and then they just kept hiring me from there to do different campaigns for them because they also sell clothing for like raves and stuff like that. And then basically the way that I set it up is that I would find them the models, I would find the locations, and then I would find the makeup artists, and I would take care of everything. So, yeah, and then basically from there, I just kept going in the same route because, and that at that moment in time, I wasn't actually 100% sure what I wanted to do with my photography. I think I was like in the middle of like, okay, do I want to do Vogue or do I want to do brands or what do I want to do? Do I want to do celebrities? So I did some celebrity stuff, but I felt like commercial photography was basically what I really wanted to do, and this is what I've been doing now for the past, 7 years maybe.
Awesome. Oh,
Seven, yeah, 7 years.
that's such a
Yeah.
cool story. So you basically you just went on the hustle and you said, "Hey, I'm interested in product photography. I'm gonna go email everyone and their mother and find out if anyone needs somebody. Just get my name out there." And then somebody needed it, and that I mean, like
Yes.
really, that's how so many of us start. I didn't think it translated, right? So for me, I was like, okay, weddings, I get it. Like you throw your name out there, you do your photography,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and it's like, hey, my photographer canceled last minute. I need a human
Right.
being to fill the role, right? But in this case, you had the same thing. It was, hey, we don't have anyone in New York. We need somebody to do this, and you did it.
Yeah, it was like a New York state of mind, you know, like that hustle, like the hustler, like, ooh, I need, you know what I mean? Yeah, I
And
definitely
that's
pushed
a
myself to get
big
to that
brand.
point.
So when I go to like Halloween Spirit, am I seeing Pedro's work on the wall?
Not anymore. Before, yes.
Okay. Before, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've seen your work
Yeah.
accidentally, is what you're telling me.
Yes, you probably have. Absolutely.
If I bought a Halloween
Absolutely.
costume in the past, I've seen your work hanging on the wall. That's really cool. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like, that's something to be, that you could hang your hat on that right there. You could retire and say, you bought a Halloween costume a few years ago. You saw my photo, right? That's so cool. So that, like,
You, actually, it was so funny because I for the lingerie, because they also had, you know, they actually sell the lingerie packets and everything like that, and a lot of my friends are women, and basically they they would send me some photos like, did you take this? I'm like, yes, I did. You know, like when they go buy like their stockings or whatever, and yeah, so, or their lingerie, and I'm like, yeah, I took those pictures. It's so funny. And yeah, those were good times for sure. That was
that's
like the
awesome.
beginning process. Like it's amazing because I honestly, like, you kind of forget after you've done so many things afterwards, and you're like, oh shit, did I, oh sorry. But you know, I basically, now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, like they used to send me these boxes full of women's products, and I just needed to figure out what I was gonna do with them. And it was only, you know, just myself just thinking about all of these things. And then I had like two people who I ended up like recruiting in the process because they were really helpful. And yeah, that's how I created this whole PVAS photography. So,
That's cool. And so I
but
know I said I was going to take it easy on you, but now I'm going to ask you the hardest question that you're ever going to have to answer. Um,
uh
because I know this is, I have my opinions on the topic, but I want to see your opinion as somebody who is in that space, who did product photography or does product photography and e-commerce photography. You know, you've clearly established yourself, and you know, we have all seen your work buying Halloween costumes. I mean, that's like wild, or lingerie. So what do you see the future of the product photography space looking with all like the mid journeys and the generative AI stuff happening? Do you feel like there's a worry that you have as a photographer in the space, or do you think that there's like, for me, I already have my answer, but I want to hear you how you feel about it.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it because it takes a whole team to create certain things when it comes to this type of space. You definitely need a videographer, you need an assistant, you need a photographer, you need everyone. I don't think, I'm not worried about AI. They're not going to do anything because you still need the human emotion. You know, you still need somebody there to guide and to make it look like it's something that I want to buy. You know, so yeah. So, and I don't think AI can really process that.
Yeah. Yeah. So my open opinion on it is very similar, right? I think that, you know, like if you're photographing a water bottle, yeah, you might be a little
Yeah,
bit worried
that's
about that. That's one, but if there is any human element involved in any of the images, no matter how good AI is going to get with generative stuff, I think you're always going to struggle to find the ability to create a concept that's realistic and makes people want to buy stuff. I mean, you know, a lot of us now can't really tell whether it's a person or not a person at this point, like whether it's AI or real, right? There, it's gotten really good. But with that, the AI stuff, a lot of times it just doesn't feel like a human being. You can tell that it's just too good, right? And I think
yes,
there's
yeah,
something about that you know can be said, that you can definitely see when there's a real human being with human emotion and character, there's soul in the eyes and that sort of stuff. And I think that people will definitely not resonate with some of the advertisements that are AI generated just because of that. You can tell, especially when it's like clothing. You can say, hey, that's not a real human's proportions. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Like, yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, there may be some things that maybe be taken out, but eventually you still need a human person to kind of guide the whole, you know, vision
Yeah.
of whatever it is that you're working on, for sure.
I love it. Yeah. So sorry for the hardball question right off the bat, but now we're
It's
gonna get on
okay.
to some really we're gonna get onto some really exciting stuff. It was burning in my mind. I was like, I want to hear from, for me, I'm not a product photographer at all. I'll take pictures of stuff that I like to take pictures of, but I've never like gone out and pursued anything in product photography. And that's what inspired me to say, hey, like, how'd you get there? But also just to be like, this is very interesting. I think that, you're the right person to ask. You've done it. You've been there.
Yeah.
Uh, that's
And I think
cool.
like if anyone that's that's in here watching, and if they were to want to do some type of commercial photography, e-com, or products or anything like this, in that realm, I would say just go for it, manifest it. If that's really what you want to do, I think it's an amazing job. It is different than, a wedding. It is different than a family shoot. It is different than maternity. Um, but it is valuable. And I think it's important also, to understand like when you go to purchase a product online, especially because everything is e-com, you basically, uh, you learn like the way the language, right? Like the language of what people want and what they're clicking, and when they go on the website and they look at products, and then there's just so much to it. And also advertising, it's just great if you want to create stories, if you want to do scripts, if you want to make something come to life. But obviously you're not an actor, so you can't really be in front of the camera, but like you want to see something, right, that you're thinking about, but you want to see it on somebody else. It's just it's a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
You're inspiring me to want to get out there and start creating narratives. I mean, because you're exactly right. I mean, when you look at advertisements and magazines and everything, it's not just, hey, we took this cute photo of someone wearing an outfit. It's always
Exactly.
very, very well thought out, right? It's the
Yes.
outfit, it's the model, it's the concept. There's
Yes.
more than
Yes.
just, you aren't given just, hey, we want this model in this underwear. You're given, hey, we want this feeling from this
Yes.
image, and your job is to try and figure out, how do I pick a location, a pose, all of these pieces to make this
Yep.
feeling come through in print, which is amazing. So
And
now
and
that
different lighting techniques.
and different light, yeah, exactly, yeah, you got to light
Yes.
this thing to make
Lots
it.
of different lighting techniques.
Yeah, you got to light it to create environment and feelings and everything. So that's cool. I mean, it really is inspiring to know that that's like it's truly an art form. I mean,
It is.
we as like me as a wedding photographer, it is an art form, sure, but it's not like, hey, I'm going to conceptualize an entire scene in one photo. Like I'm just emoting love, right? I'm just looking like, how do they look happy and having fun, and how can I do like something cool and create some mood and environment. And you're like, I have one page advert to get the emotion across, and it has to be well thought out start to finish. So yeah, that's a cool aspect. I'm sure there's plenty of people who are quite interested in that. So maybe we'll have to sidebar and do something later on that. Maybe we'll do a nice product one. But the real reason that I wanted to talk to you more, or the one of the main things we wanted to talk about, is you are the person who created something called Latinos Who Photograph.
Yes,
You
I
are
am.
the creator. Um, so tell us more about Latinos Who Photograph, and where the inspiration came from, and how it all got started.
Okay, so during the COVID-19, actually, I'm sitting around. Well, so I was living in New York City, and I moved back with my parents right after right in the pandemic, because I wasn't 100% sure like what was gonna happen, and then also, I just wanted to make sure that wherever I was safe. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know where the world was headed. And they live in Florida, so that's why I moved back to Florida. And during this time, I'm just sitting in my room, just talking to my friend and just kind of throwing ideas out there. And then we're just talking. I'm like, you know what? There's something missing online, which I've never really seen, is Latinos Who Photograph. Like I don't see like a actual platform where people are talking about Latino photographers. So then I started doing my research on Google, and then I started to realize that no one had, no one was writing about Latinos who photograph. So as I'm actually looking for Latino photographers on Google, but then I'm thinking to myself, Latinos who photograph, Latinos who photograph, Latinos who photograph, and I was just wondering like, something here, something is missing. And if I go to search for Latinos who photograph, I would literally search for it just like that, Latinos who photograph. How would I find that? So that's where the idea came from, with my friend, and then we both like just jump up and down. Like it was, I mean, it was during the phone call, but it just felt like we're both on the same energy spectrum. And basically, this is how it all started. And then I just kept thinking to myself, like, okay, how can we make this? What should we do with this? And, basically wanted to spotlight photographers who are Latinos, people who are uniting and, try to educate them and motivate them to, do certain things within that community. And that's basically that's how it all started.
So that's kind of like the mission statement, right? Is
Yeah.
uplifting Latinos in the community and helping them
Yes.
educate more, learn more, and
Yes.
gain prowess.
Yes. And so going to the educating and the spotlighting and everything. So there was an application called Clubhouse at the time. And because all of us photographers, we needed a space to talk because, we all are ADHD, like we need to do something with ourselves, right? So I basically started the Clubhouse, Latinos Who Photograph. So I started a club on there and I started to make rooms. So I had some friends who kind of guided me into the application first. And this was kind of like I was in the application before anyone, like the general public, was allowed to go in unless you were getting invited by somebody, et cetera, et cetera. And basically, I started to join, and I started to join my friends' groups, and I started to see how it was all being maneuvered. And so then I ended up making rooms every Tuesday and Thursday at like 6 o'clock. I would just put on the title Latinos Who Photograph. Latinos Who Photograph started to join, like different Latino photographers started to join from different places, from Mexico, Panama, America, like, Puerto Rico, everywhere, anywhere you can think of, they were coming in. So then from there, I met one of my board members. His name is Wilker, and basically he would then start to join me every single week. And then we started to interview different photographers who are Latinos, who are in different aspects in the photography world, whether it was like commercial, wedding, portrait, maternity, you name it. I mean, we had everyone coming in that room. And then we ended up creating a club in the application, and then we started doing educational rooms. So then we started educating people on different things. People were learning from each other, and we were just bouncing off ideas, boom, boom, boom. And then we ended up becoming the second club on the application, one of the top two clubs on the application for Latino photographers, or for Latinos, period. Yeah. And then we ended up getting like up to 3,000 members on the app. And then the app started to die down, and then people started to
That was
disperse
my
and
next
go back
question. I
to
was like,
work. Yeah,
I
and
was
then
like, does
everybody
Clubhouse
started to
still
go.
exist?
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it does exist. Sorry, it does exist, but it's not like how it was once. Um, we had some really good rooms in there. I mean, I would literally start because this is during the pandemic, so like you could do whatever you want. You're on the phone, you could talk. We would be there for morning coffee. We would start the room in the morning. We wouldn't finish till like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because we ended up even having like karaoke rooms. I mean, like this is I mean, we did all kinds of stuff on there. I mean, it was
That's
educational,
awesome.
fun. We got united, and then that's when in all of that, I started guiding people towards the Instagram, towards the Twitter, because at one point Twitter was kind of gonna go be like the next Clubhouse. So then we started to all kind of jump into Twitter, and then from Twitter, then everybody went back to Instagram, and then everybody went back to TikTok now, and yeah. So then now there is no more of an audio-based application where people are joining, not as much as it used to be when the pandemic was happening.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
awesome.
that's basically Latinos Who Photograph.
Born out of Clubhouse. Cool. So tell me about the members of Latinos Who Photograph. Like, who are they? Who's running this thing? Tell me more.
So our members are actually they're from different parts of the United States, and they all have unique international heritage. Whether some of us are actually from Peru, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Brazil, and also America. So we are all different photographers. We all have different type of skills. We have maternity, we have headshot, we have families, we also have babies, and dating, our online dating photographer, as well as fitness and pole dancing type photography. So we have a little bit of everything.
That's cool. I didn't even know dating and pole dancing photography was a thing. I mean, I guess I assume everything has a photography genre, but that's
Yes.
interesting.
I
That's
mean,
cool.
so the dating is actually by Herman Marin. He is an online dating photographer, which is something that I've never heard of either, but it is very unique in itself because think about it. If you're on a dating app and you need a new photo, but you don't really know how to take your own photos, you need someone to hire to take your photos. So that's basically what he does, and he makes them look like themselves. And yeah, it's pretty interesting, and I think it's a pretty cool concept for sure.
That is a really cool concept. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. So we're excited to celebrate Hispanic heritage. As a company at Aftershoot, we're obviously quite a diverse brand. So we have people from all around the world. Our employees are all scattered all amongst the world, and we have plenty of Hispanic employees. Our ambassador team, we have plenty of Hispanic ambassadors. So we're very loud and proud about that. Of course, my lovely wife is also Hispanic, so it's exciting to be able to really have a personal touch to this. And so now with the nitty gritty questions, like, what are the challenges you have faced as a Hispanic, whether it's in this industry or just in general? What sort of things do you face?
This goes way deep. But I want to say one of the challenges mainly is discrimination because I am Latino, and I feel like sometimes people discriminate against that. And there's other things, but that will be for another time. But I would say that that's one of the main things, right? I feel like when I was growing up, because when I came from Puerto Rico, I came to America, I didn't know any English, and I used to get discriminated against because of that. So I would say like that's one of the major things that Hispanics face in the United States for sure.
Yeah,
among other things.
Yeah,
But
among
yeah.
other things, definitely. But yeah, that's one discrimination. It's unfortunately one of those things that we, even with Veronica, my wife, being Hispanic, that we face oftentimes. The stories and the things that happen. It's just and it's not just out and about, right? Like it's all over the place. But even bringing it back down to the core of the photography industry, it's something that we have faced, that she faces personally all the time.
Yes.
As other photographers and other people in the industry, whether they, and sometimes it's not something that there that we are looking at and saying like, oh, blowing something out of proportion. It's just sometimes it's literally the simple things like, oh yeah, she has an accent, so she's stupid, right? It's like those are words that somebody has said before, right? A photographer in this industry had said that out of their mouth, right? Not that way. They said, oh, she's stupid, and I'm like, yeah, actually, you don't know how educated she is, but it's just that sort of it's that prejudgment and those sort of things, and it's one of those things that we'd love to see break down over time, that hopefully we can change that opinion and do those sort of things to break down these barriers and that racism or that discrimination, whether it's inside or outside of the industry. We hope to be able to be a part of that as a company, and that's something that we would love to see. So I have a question that is totally off track from that, is like, what do you think, or what do you vision? And this is a loaded question. What do you think would be the way that we can help reduce racism? What sort of concepts or things do you think are important to break down these walls?
That's a really good question. But I think I actually feel like, I think that people need to come out of their shell. And, I understand, like, because, racism and discrimination comes from generation, right? Like, it's passed down to their families, to their kids, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like if they came, like, if they actually thought, okay, you know what, let me go to this country, let me see how they really are. Because I'm only seeing a one-sided story, which is, coming down from my family. My family is the one telling me that I should hate these people or I should discriminate against them. I feel like if they took the time or the chance to actually, you know, go to that actual country and see for themselves how wonderful and how respectful people are, I think that they would have a whole different perspective. I don't think that there is no way of changing somebody who has been, who has grown into, let's say, into this environment. I don't think, they have to see it for themselves. It's something that you see with your eyes. Just like, with photography, you know exactly when that shot is, oh my God, this is the perfect shot. I feel like that's also the same scenario here, for sure.
I like how you tied that back to photography. That was,
I
mean, that's a great answer, but I'm impressed that you managed to squeeze it back to photography. That's true. I mean, really, it's hard to change somebody's opinion about other people when they've been raised or brought up in an environment that's just the opinion that they're going to have. But until they actually have the opportunity to connect or learn, firsthand what it means, that's huge. And I think that's the importance of Hispanic Heritage Month, is really like showing that, you can find people of all different heritages and nationalities that really are extremely valuable human beings. They're amazing human beings, and this is our way to kind of celebrate them and bring them to the forefront. So it is really cool to be able to be a part of that as a company, but also just being a part of that. Latinos Who Photograph is like a huge way to kind of generate that feeling and that inspiration, especially in this industry, because this industry is wrought with some of these things. There's definitely some segments here that are inclusive in this industry, which leads me to my next question. How do you see the Hispanic community in the photography industry?
Ooh, in the photography industry, I feel like it's still lacking. But I can see that they are making efforts, especially when I went to WPPI this past year. I feel like, it's gonna happen. Eventually, they're gonna open up those doors more for Latino photographers, because there's a lot of talent there too. It's not just in America. We have many talented in South America. We have many talented photographers in Mexico that I've seen, in Panama, in Peru. Like, it's just astonishing that no one has ever discovered them prior to me starting Latinos Who Photograph.
Yeah, and that's an amazing. I mean, I was just in Argentina for Maxi Oviedo's Congress, which is a
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, it's a charitable Congress. So all they donate to different causes. It's an amazing, amazing thing to be a part of. It's like a family. But I was sitting there watching the speakers, and they're all obviously Hispanic because it's a Latin American based. So all the speakers came from all around South America, Central America. I'm sitting there watching these speakers, and I'm embarrassed as a photographer. I'm watching and I'm saying, these are some of the most talented photographers I've ever seen. And I'm over
Mm.
here like, yeah, this is, but it's really, it's just, unfortunately, it's a representation thing. I think that, getting them more represented in this industry, we could step up the entire industry and what we pertain to. I mean, I learned some things. I don't speak Spanish that well. I speak it pretty good, but I learned some things at this conference that, yeah, you should have heard me. I had to present on stage to like 600 people in Spanish. It was so funny. But I made it
Oh,
through.
wait, I want to hear you talk in Spanish. Give me a little
Okay, we'll
something,
get,
Justin.
yeah, we can do some stuff. But yeah, no, so I'd like, just watching in my, with my limited Spanish, I learned so much from some of these photographers, and like, these family photographers, they're doing this fine art portraiture that, in the United States, we'd be charging thousands of dollars for. And they're, obviously there's different economies, and they're just like kind of run of the mill photographers. Like you could point at 12 people and they're all doing this amazing, like unbelievable work.
Mm.
And they're just like average, right? That in
Yeah.
these, and they just don't have that representation. They haven't been brought to the forefront. So definitely it's exciting to see that there's something like Latinos Who Photograph who can help uplift them in this industry and set that standard and be more inclusive. Because I'm sure my next
Absolutely.
question you're going to hear right about how that needs to happen, which is like, do you feel that brands support Hispanic photographers?
Hmm. I want to say yes and no, uh, which is like, because I don't feel like we are yet in that position where we still have that presence where, they're giving a lot of opportunities to a Latino photographer. I want to say yes in the aspect of that. Yes, there are some colleagues that I've seen that they have done amazing things and they're Latino photographers, but they don't really represent, or I would say there's not enough of them yet. So I think
Yeah.
that eventually it's gonna change, once the world changes their ways. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
right now I don't feel it's there yet.
I think as we grow as an industry, as people, we start getting more acceptance and understanding. I mean, I have that firsthand, with my wife being Peruvian. I already am way more open to any of that concept. And I'll tell you, all of my favorite photographers, minus maybe one, are all Hispanic. Many of them are in Colombia, they're in Argentina, and their work just is, in Mexico, like Barbara Torres is one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Christina
I love
Arjona,
her.
like their work is just so inspiring and beautiful, and I wish I could be as good as them, right? Like that's that kind of that concept that, again, being able to expand your palette and being more willing to understand and being more inclusive, you can definitely pick up on these things. It's one of the reasons why when we went out and set to build these ambassador teams, we focused on personality, we focused on work, and what that ended up bringing us was people like Barbara and Christian, because their work is beyond anything that I can physically do. Right? I can look at their
Mm,
work and say, what happened to me to make me so bad, right? But like that's because they're so amazing, but it's my predisposition allows me to be more open to it. And that's, again, that thing where we can say, yeah, like that's an amazing ambassador, because their work
absolutely.
speaks for themselves and they're so talented and they deserve every bit of it. So it's cool to have that as part of our representation. So
That's
what do
amazing.
you think is the biggest contribution of the Hispanic community to the world?
Okay, so this question, it was a very hard question, to be honest. But I want to say that, like, I want to say the contribution as for myself, because I can't really answer that question in the world per se. But I would say, like, for me as a Latino photographer, we have a lot of a lot of Latino people have like this spicy spirit to themselves, right? And yes, food, comida. Yes, so somebody just said, Ben just said food, comida. Yes, absolutely. So I feel like uh, as a photographer, like when I'm on set, I basically, have like I have to kind of like role play with the actress or the model, whoever, and tell her, this is how I want you to act. I want you to do this, and I want you to act like this. And basically, I just go all crazy, and sometimes they look at me like, what the heck? But it works, right? It's just like that free spirit, that free Latino, that spiciness to myself. I feel like I'm that person who's contributing, in the Hispanic community, in my work at least. So, but yes, contributing to the biggest part of the world, people who know how to cook. I know how to cook. I just haven't cooked in a long time, but I love food.
Food is a big one. I mean, like that's I wouldn't minimalize it to that for sure, but food for me, like the many of the of the Hispanic food is like top notch.
Yes.
Don't Veronica will tell you.
I
Peru
would
is
say
always
Veronica probably knows how to cook some really good Latino food. Some good
absolutely.
ceviche. I have to come over.
100%. But yeah, that's cool. That's a very diplomatic answer for us trying to ask you to represent all Hispanics in the entire world. So I appreciate that. That's
Yes, yes,
that's
absolutely.
a solid answer on that one. That question, that was a trick question. That was to see if you would come out and say Pedro Vasquez is the most important thing to the Hispanic world.
Oh my God, I would never do that. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but and yeah, so absolutely. I mean, one of the things that Ben has a great comment here. Like mine's pretty much we're math wizards and understood us. Like seriously, one of the things that I always bring up is the Incas. Some of the things
Mm.
that the Incan culture brought to the world that we would never know, like corn didn't exist. Corn is genetically modified food. Like the Incas were known for genetically modifying plants. So corn didn't exist until the Incas existed. They genetically
What?
modified wheat to make corn. Yeah. So
Oh
like
wow.
definitely yeah, so in Peru they have like which is the heartland of the Incas, they have all of the varieties of potatoes. Like they were all adapted, or most of them were adapted and crossbred potato plants and different plants to do them. So they were like agricultural experts, which is like absolutely insane. Yeah, Ben, corn should be blue. Yeah, like there's
Yes,
purple.
I know.
Peru has purple corn, it has the big white corns, it has all of the corn, but it's
Mm.
because they were experimenting with plants and how to genetically modify plants, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, like to narrow it down to anything is impossible other than saying yes, Pedro is absolutely amazing. He's probably the greatest of the Hispanic culture.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So we'll start dialing back in here. Like, what's next for Latinos Who Photograph?
So what's next for Latinos Who Photograph? We want to become a nonprofit organization, and we want to be able to support photographers and videographers through their different creative journeys. We want to offer them with guidance and education in some type of way. So we're working on that, and hopefully that is we're creating a web. Well, we had a website this whole entire time, but we're working on it so we can actually highlight those things that we were talking about. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to say too much because
Yeah.
because I really, because it's still a learning process. It's something that yes, it started. So Latinos Who Photograph was created in 2021, and this is the very beginning of January. My idea was a different idea that turned into a different idea that turned into a different idea that turned into a different idea. It has been turning into a lot of different ideas, but I think we've gotten it now to the point where we understand what we're supposed to do. Because there's a lot of people that have ideas, right? But then once you stick to one thing, I think that that's the most important thing. So I think that's what we're gonna be highlighting on our social media, if coming soon. So 2024, stay tuned.
I love it. That's such great news. And then more importantly, which Halloween costume should I? No, I'm just kidding. What's next for what's next for Pedro?
You're hilarious. Um, so, so for me, so I moved to Florida, and I currently own a photography studio here in Orlando. And basically, I've been working with different brands here locally. Well, not locally, but I got, some brands here with me. And I want to basically partner and try to see if eventually I make this into a production company. So that's kind of like where I'm headed in that direction. Cuz I already know how to do everything, and now I just need to make it into a production company where we can help other brands, get their advertising, get their photos, get their whole thing. So that's where I'm headed.
That's
Hopefully.
very I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Oh, I definitely messed up that post. I'm sorry. I'm trying to share some links here, so that everyone can kind of dive in and find you. So essentially, Pedro, you're an amazing product photographer, right? I mean,
I
that's
wouldn't
like
say that yet. I'm still learning.
you're absolutely like if you haven't seen his work, everyone, I'm going to post a link. It's P Vaz Photography, but really like your work is incredible, and
Thank you.
that's
Actually, I don't have everything up there, but thank you. I appreciate you. I feel like my work has changed so much, and now I'm afraid to like even post anything because I don't even know where to start. But yeah, I appreciate that. I will, yeah, I will take that
yeah,
for sure.
update some of that work. I mean, if you want to see more of his full concept planning, you could just head to the shapewear. Right? I
Yeah,
mean, that's
you could go, yeah, you could go to shapelex.com. You can see all my pictures there, or populush.com. So
yeah, that's absolutely amazing. But yeah, your work it's just stunning. It's well done. It's beautiful.
thank you.
We're so lucky to have had you here, and we really appreciate all of the time and energy that you've taken towards helping uplift the Latin community amongst the industry. And as always, After Shoots excited to be along for the ride and help any way we can. So thank you for taking the time, and yeah,
Thank
we'll
you,
watch it,
Justin.
and we'll have to sidebar. I mean, really, like we'll have to do something in the future around product photography too, because that part of the story is so inspiring as well. So
Thank you. Yes. And thank you so much, Justin, for having me. I mean, and for obviously, making this very comfortable. Because to be honest, I love being behind. So, just really quickly here, when I was younger, I used to love being in front of the camera. I think that's where my creative juices really come from. It's like I always wanted to be in front of the camera, but now I just want to go hide. Like I don't want to be in front of the camera anymore. It's just I don't know. It's like this. There is like that fear, like what I'm saying, that you get just from looking into the camera, because you know that you can see everything, and especially when you're behind the camera, you see everything, you know everything. So it's kind of I don't know. It's like a anxiety factor thing that's been kicking in
you
for me.
you crushed it. I
Yeah,
even asked
thank you.
I even asked you some questions that you probably shouldn't have even been answering, and you nailed it like a diplomat. It was fantastic.
Of course. I mean, you got to be prepared. I think that's, and I mean, and I think it's also good to tell people the truth on what you feel, whatever that question is. I don't think anybody should sugarcoat anything. So, I'm a very honest person when it comes to that. And I will tell you, hey, if I don't like this, I'm going to rat you out, and I'm going to tell you right on the spot, don't like that video. But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's awesome.
Justin. I appreciate you.
No,
Thank you,
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, everybody that joined.
Everyone be sure to go follow Latinos Who Photograph to find some amazing photographers and find an amazing movement to help uplift Latinos in the industry. And then be sure to go follow Pedro on his personal account, because absolutely exciting, amazing work there. It's always, and he promised right now live on air that he's gonna start posting more so that you can see some more stuff.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us and celebrating Hispanic heritage with us all. So we're very excited to have you.
Justin, before we leave, can we
Yeah.
leave by saying Latinos Who Photograph really loud?
Yeah, just the two of us? You got it.
Yes, just the two of us. Come on, why not? Let's do it.
All right, you count it down.
All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. If you're at home, please yell, Latinos
Who photograph.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Justin. I love you guys. Take care. Have a good day. Happy
Bye, all.
Friday. Peace.